What's up, Raptors fans? Welcome to the Warrant Report. I just want to say, guys, thank you so much. We have hit that 1,000 subscribers mark. So thank you guys for your continuous support, through your likes, through your comments, everything you have done to help this channel grow. I really do appreciate it. With that being said, let's focus on today's video, which is about the Raptors landing that 4th overall pick and what that means for the Raptors heading into the offseason, in particular, Kyle Lowry and Gary Trent Jr. We know this is going to be a lot of options in different directions we can go into this offseason. So before we get into the details of this video, you know the drill. Give this video a thumbs up as it helps reach more basketball fans like yourself across YouTube. And if you want to hit that subscribe button as well, that'd be much appreciated. With that being said, let's get into today's video. Now, I actually suggested this idea several videos ago where I suggested, should the Raptors entertain the idea of trading Gary Trent Jr.? Now, it was not well received by most fans. I understand why. He's 22 years old. He's got a lot of potential. He's scored 40 plus points. He's hit that game winner. He's bonded so well with the team in the short amount of time he's been here. We also have to realize we can't get into our feelings when constructing an NBA roster. We felt that when Masai Ujiri pulled the ultimate heart-wrencher when he traded DeMar DeRozan away, which ultimately led us to our championship. But I also see this for salary purposes as well. When you take a look at our salary cap situation, we have so much money tied up in Pascal, OG, Fred VanVleet, and then if we pay Gary Trent Jr. around the 14 to 18 million mark, that is going to be a lot of money to be tied up in 4 guys. And that leaves us little to no room to sign a free agent. We would have to do it through a trade, which becomes even more challenging. But also because now that we've landed the 4th overall pick, we can potentially slide Jalen Green or Jalen Suggs into that shooting guard position besides Fred VanVleet. And I know some fans have suggested we can bring Gary Trent Jr. off of the bench, but personally, I don't want to be paying a bench player $18 million, and I don't think Gary Trent Jr. is going to be happy with that bench role. We know his unhappiness with the Portland Trail Blazers. He wasn't getting the role he wanted, so I don't think he'll particularly want to come off the bench. And if I'm being honest, as a Raptors fan, I personally am not drafting Jalen Green or Jalen Suggs just to have him come off the bench. I want them in that starting position. I want to see what they can do. I'm really excited about those 2 players. So I want to see what they can do. But I say this because he's also a very attractive trade piece. I think we can easily sign and trade Gary Trent Jr. and acquire a really nice center player. And I think that is why I suggested Gary Trent Jr. And I stay with that. I stick with that now. Even now, I want to trade Gary Trent Jr. for a center player. Unless, you know what, unless you pull the ultimate 360 and decide to trade that 4th overall pick and other players to acquire a center, which I don't see happening. So moving on to Kyle Lowry here, I think this definitely means that we are not bringing Kyle Lowry back because our backcourt is going to be absolutely clogged, as if it's not already clogged, with Malachi Flynn and Fred VanVleet being our 2 point guards. Bringing Kyle Lowry back, you're going to have to play him at that shooting guard position. And if we re-sign Gary Trent Jr., that's just going to be an absolute disaster of having 4 guards who all want minutes. And on top of that, you know, a really top skilled NBA draft rookie that we'll be bringing in, and Jalen Green or Suggs. I just don't see that being a good fit with all of those guards there. So I think definitely Kyle Lowry is being moved. We've heard a lot of rumors about him being, you know, potentially signed and trade. A lot of rumors were swirling before the NBA trade deadline. And recently we heard Philadelphia 76ers potentially still looking to sign and trade Kyle Lowry. And that was before they got eliminated in the 2nd round. So I think definitely he's one player they will be looking at. So this probably means we're going to take a very different approach to what we originally had. We were expected to go in that 7th and 8th spot. Luckily, we got into a top 4, so we're getting a top talent in Jalen Green and Suggs. We can, as I've mentioned, slide him into that shooting guard position, sign and trade Kyle Lowry, try to get some nice bench pieces back. Realistically, I don't think you'll get a center or starting center. Most contenders that will look to trade for Kyle Lowry don't really have centers they can trade. And also because, you know what, let's be honest, when trading and signing Kyle Lowry, you're not going to get a lot back. Sign and trades are very different from the NBA trade deadline. So ultimately, I think this really changes the Raptors roster construction through the offseason. But just because you can't acquire the same pieces as you would at the NBA trade deadline. So realistically, I don't see us acquiring a lot of pieces, great pieces back for Kyle Lowry. It would be nice to get that, but if I'm being honest, I just don't see that happening. So I think with us landing that 4th overall pick, this is great for the Raptors. We get a really nice shooting guard, small forward if you want to place, you know, Jalen Green there, but I don't see them coming off those bench. I want those 2 players starting. They're high-end talent rookies that are coming in. So I'm really pumped up for those 2 players. And I do want to hear from you guys as well. What do you think this means for the Raptors offseason? Do we trade Gary Trent Jr. Do we sign and trade Gary Trent Jr.? Do we sign and trade Kyle Lowry? What does this mean for the Raptors offseason? Let me know all of that fun stuff in the comment section, guys. And if you guys are still watching this video, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.